Welcome back to the channel, guys. It is me, 87 Extra, and today, guys, we're finally going to be doing my Squid Game Season 3 review. I have so much to unpack here, guys, so stay tuned for that, as well as the fact that this will be a spoiler review. We're going to be discussing in-depth the entire season here in detail, and I hope you guys do enjoy that. So once again, I do apologize for this video coming out late. Obviously, this season came out June 27th a few weeks ago, but obviously I was on vacation pretty much last week and the week before, like pretty much 10 days I was off for, and, I wasn't able to watch at the course I was planning to watch. So obviously this was a bit late, but it's better late than never, I suppose. And yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So let's start where the season two ended off. So season two, obviously, we had the cliffhanger ending, and obviously we had the ending where Jihan saw his own best friend killed in front of his eyes, and he noticed that the front man killed his best friend. Now I don't know if he knows the front man is no longer played, and I think he should realize that yeah, people I trust is not the people I'm close with, And he's getting to the point where I want to leave. I want to be killed, you know. And that in itself is crazy. Like for you to get killed is crazy. And he was begging. He was so desperate. He really wanted them to do it. Obviously, they did it, and the rest is history, right? And so he's chained, and we get to the first game, and I think it's a great transition to the first game, and that is hide and seek. Now, this isn't like a traditional hide and seek game where, okay, it's fun and roses, someone hides, you got to find the hider, and, it's all fun and games. Well, of course, in the Squid Games, it wasn't going to be as simple. It was twisted. You had basically half be either hiders or seekers, and basically the hiders have to basically find a way to escape, and the seekers are the ones with the knives, and the knives are the ones to kill the hiders, right? And so basically, it was really interesting. It was really cool that you have to basically they're tested in the sense that you either have to kill someone in 30 minutes or you die, and you can't kill other people from your team. And I think that was a really cool concept, and it really tested people, and like it really showed like the true mentality of these people. Like, are they willing to sacrifice others' lives for themselves? You know, and it was also interesting is the fact that the mother and son were opposing teams. I think that is almost great. See, had they were in the same team, I don't think it would be as good. As speaking of the mother and son, obviously we get to this big one. And by the way, I'm going to go over like big notable deaths. I'm not going to go over every single death because we're going to be here all day. And I think the notable ones are more interesting. She is tasked with either saving the baby, because remember, 222 got pregnant at this episode, and we saw her give birth, or kill my son. That's a big dilemma. Big dilemma there. What do you choose? Let's say you're in our position and you had to make the decision. Do I save my son or do I save the baby? You can only choose one. And for me, ugh, guys, I'm going with the baby. As sick and as cruel and harsh as it is, the baby has more to live than my own son, right? My son has already lived so many years, whereas the baby hasn't. So for me, I respect her decision. I respect her decision of choosing to kill her son over the baby. And I know a lot of people are going to tell me in the comments below that why didn't you like why are you choosing to save someone you don't even know? And that is true. See, let's say it was 222 or his son. Oh yeah, obviously kill 222. But because it's her baby girl. You don't want to kill the baby girl. You just don't want to, you know. And so for me, I understand why the mother did it. And it's harsh, it's brutal, but it is what it is, you know. And I feel like she made the right choice there. And obviously, she felt so guilty to the point that obviously we'll get to this in the bed. She commits suicide. She feels so guilty that she killed her own son. She can't live with that fact. And so, for me, it's a really cruel reality, but that's the reality. And then the trans girl, man. Oh my jeez, I feel so bad for her. She literally worked so hard just to get the door to open. She comes back, rescues them, but next thing you know, she gets stabbed in the back. Like that is so cool. Like imagine you almost did it for yourself and you made it through. Then obviously Jihan had this huge. Obviously they were telling him Jihan that there's this guy that actually failed plots the revolt and he actually didn't follow through. You should kill him. All right, man. Jihan was able to do so. At the end. I forgot the exact guy name. I'll try to do this when I do my editing. But yeah, that player Jihan killed. I'm trying to think some other notable deaths. I think those were the notable ones I can remember off the top of my head. I'm sure when I do my editing, I'm gonna add some other players that I forgot to mention, but these are the ones that stand out to me. And for me, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy how this episode unfolded. And for me, this is probably the best game of the three in the Squid Game season three. I would say this is probably one of the best, and I would probably even put this as one of my favorites of the entire series. This one was just so good. I really did enjoy this game in particular a lot, and I think this one the writers did such a fantastic job for this game in particular. Now move to the second game. The second game was a jump rope game. And for me, this game gives me a lot of flashbacks to this first season. When we had the Glass Shard game, this game gave me a lot of flashbacks to that game. In the sense of how it's pretty much luck based. But I feel like this one is a bit better than that one because this one there's more skill. Like you actually have to jump through. You don't have to rely on luck to rely on the panel. And for me, what was really commendable is the fact that Jihan was able to carry the baby and himself through the finish line. And what's also really crazy is that the front man decided to have the baby compete, which I think is so messed up. It's so sick. Like, why would you have a baby competing? The baby doesn't even know what it's doing, and it needs nurture and navigation. And obviously, he was able to do it. He was the first one to do so. Then there's this guy the second guy that was able to complete. But the second guy decided to be a jerk and kill two other people across the finish line. And then obviously Jihan had a big issue with that, and they obviously had a brawl. Ended up Jihan obviously winning, of course. And then obviously comes this tragic part. 2-2-2. You know it was happening. Because something I didn't mention the last time of the game is that she got bruised. Her ankle was literally hurting. She couldn't walk much anymore. And especially considering this is the jumping one, it was over. It was always over. Like maybe if like maybe there's like a walking like I think the glass panel she could have maybe done, but for me this jumping one there was no chance she was going to make it through, and so obviously she ended up telling them, "Hey, just kill me, just end my life." And obviously she made a promise. Jian promised her that he's going to get the baby to survive, which will be very interesting when we get when later on. And so, like I said, very interesting. 9 players survive, and now we move on to the final game. And I think this is the Squid of War Life. I believe it is. I might be wrong, so I'll do it in my edit and when I do my editing. But the thing that makes it interesting is that the final 9, and obviously the rule was that 3 people had to go, one for each round, and they had the choice to kill who they wanted to. And I think that was really interesting. The players forming against each other, and obviously we had a group of 6, and basically every one of the 6 decided to go against 4, 5, 6, 2, 2, 2, and obviously 125. They were able to kill off 125 because he was powerless and resistant. But the 4, 5, 6 Jihan had a little weapon. And remember, early in the episode, we saw him meet with the front man. And the front man literally told him, you can kill as many people as you want. And as long as 2 people make it, the game's over. And it puts Jihan in this interesting perplexion. Do I kill these people? And the Jihan, and then there was a flashback to Sabayok, and she's telling him, don't do this, man. That's not who you are. And that is true. Jihan is the nice protagonist. He's not supposed to do that. Then obviously Jihan was going to kill the 100, the old man, but decided, you know what? I'm going to let it stay. And now it gets the second round where things get interesting. And they ended up picking. And what was a really interesting revelation was the player 333 is the baby's father, legally. But obviously, because she doesn't trust him, he gave it to Jihan instead. I'm sorry, she gave it to Jihan instead. And Jihan is basically a temporary father. And it ended up basically between these two to battle it out in the final round. Everyone else got killed in their own respective ways. Um, and the pole was used, the knife was used. It was a brutality there. And it was really interesting to see them form against each other, which was really interesting. And then the final round. You see, this is where player 333 was a big jerk. He wanted to kill the baby just for him to survive. And obviously, it meant that one of them could only do it. And then obviously, protagonist attacks. 4, 5, 6 ends up winning, beating 333, pushes them off the cliff with the sleeve. And then obviously, Gion is now left. Do I kill the baby or do I kill myself? And we were thinking, okay, Gion is going to probably kill the baby. That's probably the ending we're going to get. And he's going to win 2 games in a row. And I'm like, but then Jihan does something that goes out of crazy. He has to sacrifice himself so the baby can live, and the baby ends up winning. And I think this is a great transition. Let's talk about this ending. This ending makes sense in the grand scheme of things. But at the same time, it's a bit underwhelming because it was so predictable what was going to happen. Like you knew this was going to happen, especially the way it turned it out to be. And the sick part is the fact that rather than have Jihan confront the frontman at the end, which should have happened, by the way, they decided just to tease American version of Squid Games at the end. And in the whole search investigation thing, the ship stuff, eventually his frontman found his brother comes by, and then the whole island explodes. The whole island explodes. I'm like, why? And for me, what's really disappointing for me is I really did enjoy season three, guys, up until the final game. I feel like the final game was just such an underwhelming ending. Like it was so predictable what was going to happen. Like obviously the plan wasn't going to work, right? And for me, this is where I have the biggest issue with Squid Game season three. I just feel like this ending for me was just too predictable. It wasn't interesting whatsoever. We knew what was going to happen. The baby was going to survive. We were going to get the sad ending. And for me, I have nothing against the baby. I love babies. Okay, well, let me put it this way: there's nothing wrong with the baby. Okay, but the thing is, why does the baby win this game? You know, and like this is the problem. And I just feel like for me, I just feel like they could have addressed it so much better. And I feel like this ending just feels so like underwhelming, so disappointing. Now, don't get me wrong. I still think Squid Game season three is definitely worth watching, and I still did enjoy this season. But I feel like it was just such a cheesy ending that okay, we just had to end this somehow, and we're gonna end it like this. So yeah, like I said, guys, and I'm gonna go back to something I said even before season two came out. I said, did we really need a season two and a season three? Did we really need it? Because I feel like Squid Game season one was just so amazing, so wonderfully made that there was nothing ever gonna top this. And when you make a sequel, guys, it's very difficult to surpass the original because people have expectations. People expect you to do better, and I just felt like it wasn't really necessary. I just felt like they did it because this first season was so good, it was so successful that they ended up doing season two and season three. It just felt like it was forced. It didn't feel natural to me, and that's why I have the issue with this. Is that in the grand scheme of things, this whole season just feels like it was for nothing. All that conflicts between one another, all that tension, all the friendships, only for the baby to win, just doesn't make any sense. Especially considering the baby made the debut halfway through the season. Because technically, guys, this is a continuation of season two. This is part two of season two, essentially. So how do you have someone that enters halfway through and the third season and somehow win it? It's just so unfair. It is so unfair. And as much as I didn't want Jihan to win it, put it this way: if it was Jihan or the baby, I'd rather have Jihan win it. And we gotta talk about Jihan, guys. Oh my jeez, what happened to Jihan this season? His goal was to stop the games from happening, and ended up really not much happened. And he was supposed to be this nice, sweet, innocent person, bro. He's not nice or innocent at so well. And what's really difficult for me is that as a protagonist, I'm supposed to root for you. I wasn't really rooting for the protagonist. I wasn't really rooting for 456. I was rooting for the son. I was rooting for the mother, and I was rooting for 222. I was rooting for those characters the most because I just felt like for me he was a bit more condescending, a bit more jerkish, and this season wasn't as nice as he was in season one. And I understand that a lot of the things he did was in self defense, but at the end of the day, this isn't who Jihan is, you know. And so, yeah, we're left with that ending, and obviously, the front man gives Jihan's clothes to his daughter, and obviously, we're left with that, and it's just a really bad ending. I'm sorry, this ending really sucks, and I really did enjoy this. But I'm not going to let it take away from the fact that I still did enjoy the season. I still recommend to watch it. But man, the ending was just so bad. It was just such a terrible ending, and I feel like maybe if the ending wasn't so bad, I wouldn't be as disappointed as I am. But that's just how it is. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, guys. What you guys think of my analysis? Do you guys agree with my takes and everything? Let me know all that in the comments below, guys. I'm sure there's gonna be some major talking points I didn't discuss below in the comments below. And yeah, remember guys, like and subscribe as well if you're new out here, guys. And if you have any more ideas for videos, let me know in the comments below. And yeah, like I said, guys, hope you guys did enjoy. Remember guys, like and subscribe, and peace out.